Hey gang, Kevin here, Life22. And today's show, we are finally getting around to the Elon Musk autobiography by Chris Isaacson. It was I'm sorry, Walter Isaacson. Chris Isaac. Chris Isaac was a uh, musician that I recall from the 90s. Sorry. Anyways, Walter Isaacson. Um, anyways, so finally getting around to that. Shout out to my boy uh Pat my balls Lamar for messaging me this morning. Our outro and intro were too loud. We have rectified that, so that one's for you, Pat. Um and then yeah, so just want to get into this. It's been a while since I finished this. I started reading it over the summer. Obviously, a lot of things have come up. We've been reviewing a lot of content. I'm in the middle of another book, trying to play catch up on all the daily podcasts that I already currently listen to, in addition to like additional content, movies, things like that, the stuff the kids drag me to. And then I'm also, a student at the Peterson Academy, and I've completed. I'm halfway through my second class, and that has been taking up. Once I do my daily podcast, then it's kind of like fair game, and I'll listen to like little tidbits of information that people will send to me. Hey, don't you need to check this out? You need to check that out. You need to check this out. So I check all that stuff out, but there's so much content to gobble up that like the book side of it always ends up like being the last thing I'll listen to. When I'm out of content, I will listen to books. But now I'm a student at the Peterson Academy, so my classes through them has been taking up my book time. So, but regardless, we I finished the Elon Musk autobiography a few months ago. It's about time I get to it. I'm trying to play catch up on getting all this content out to you guys as soon as I'm done with it. And thanks to guys like Elon Musk, we have things like the purchase of of Twitter, which became X, which then also allowed large allowed Elon to be able to implement things like Grok, his version of AI, based on his own XAI large language model and stuff like that, which is really kind of cool. I don't believe they really touched on that too much in the book. They touched on a little bit of his, dealings with AI and just the industry as a whole, the tech sector, and things like that. But it was a great book. And actually, going over to it here, and this is how I normally do it. I'm normally reading this list, and so now with the new studio and cool things like screen sharing that I'm becoming more familiar with, we're able to kind of go through a lot of what the book has laid out. And there's no better summary of how the book is laid out than the chapters. Um, so this book is available on Audible. That's where I listen to the book. I am not a book reader. I do not have time to read books. I have time to listen to books. Nice little shout out to Raycon. They make an amazing earbud. I have both their Impacts, and that's the work one, so it's less waterproof, but longevity and the noise suppression on is phenomenal. Their little standard earbuds are pretty decent, but they pick up everything. So like if you're making for just being able to just alternate and just have one in your ear, listening to the world around you, and then being able to just alternate and keeping that pod charged so you can just listen to one at a time is a great method. But if you're making phone calls like I do, it's picking up everything around you. If you're in a factory or, in a facility, there's a lot of noise. You're in a car, you're in a van, whatever, you're picking up a lot of noise. And the little one doesn't do as well for that. The more expensive ones, but you have to wear them in a pair. They don't seem to like to operate independently. So, which can be poses a pain in the butt. So, my critique to Raycon. But thanks, Ben Shapiro, for referring me to Raycon. They are phenomenal. They've been doing me great for the last 4 or 5 years. So if you're thinking of Christmas gifts for Kevin, birthday gifts for Kevin, you know, Raycon earbuds always on the must list, along with darn tough socks. We're still wearing them. We reviewed them here on the channel. Anyways, so going through our list here, we have the opening credits. Obviously, it's not. If I remember correctly, I think it's. I don't believe it's read by the author. We can close opening credits. Look at that! Look at that handsome guy right there. Anyways, she is. This book right here is a 20-hour listen. Obviously, I like just pressed replay so I could view the chapters on it. We're not going to play you any of the audio. I'm sure it's copyrighted. Even though we are reviewing the content, which isn't transformative, but it is part of the Fair Use Act. Epigraph, prologue, the Muse of Fire, adventures. A mind of his own, Pretoria in the 1970s. So, if a lot of people weren't aware, Elon Musk is from Africa. So that's always his joke, is he's got Asperger's, is his and he's got Asperger's, and so he's an African American with a disability. So, anyways, mind of his own, life of his father, life with his father in Pretoria, goes through his whole youth. The Seeker, escape, velocity, leaving South Africa. He moves to Canada, Ontario, then Philadelphia, West Silicon Valley, Palo Alto. So going west, Zip 2, just the different things that he created. I believe Zip 2, it's like I said, it's 3 different months that yeah, okay. So Entrepreneur Zip 2 was one of the was a big company in providing business directories, maps, and newspapers. And then he was X. Justine, one of his wives, in the 90s, X.com, the Coop and PayPal, um, Mars and SpaceX, Rocket Man, SpaceX, 2002, Father and Son. Kind of, he's going back and forth, but they're trying, as you can tell here, they're trying to stay in line, in chronological order with all the different things going on. But there's a lot of stuff going on here. Revving up SpaceX, Musk's rules to rocket building, how strict of a guy he was when it came to running a factory. Why did this rule get implemented? This is why he is a perfect candidate for Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, um, is because he's got that engineer's mind, right? So his social skills are much of the lacking department, but he gets by, right? Like as most of us do. But here's the one thing that I have to say about him is when he's talking about, when they bring it up in the book, he can take stuff that is broken down. Like he can say, why do we have to use this product? Well, it's in the engineer standard book, like, or the government says we have to use it. Why do they say that? Find me the reason. If there's not a valid reason, oh, well, the reason is because nothing else exists that's strong enough. Oh, wait a minute, that's a 30-year-old rule, or the person who wrote it did not understand the principles in which we are applying this. And so they're reinventing the wheel between Tesla and SpaceX and all these other things. And it's like, boom, he's getting exemptions for different things based on the application practicality and his ability to devise and design stuff cheaper and stronger. Like innovation is this guy's middle name. So Musk's rules to rocket building. Mr. Musk goes to Washington. He talks about his time in Washington. He was one of the founders of Tesla. He put his whole, almost everything that he did. And I actually listened to Jeremy Boring's town hall speech just recently, and he talks about the same exact thing. Every time that they went to expand their business, it felt like they were taking the biggest risk of everything, and everything would come tumbling down if each step they took. If any of those steps failed, they would come crashing down. And if you listen to this autobiography of Elon, you will be like, blown at like how like he was leveraging Tesla's, like he was borrowing money just to keep Tesla afloat, and now it is one of the strongest companies, um of a very strong company. And SpaceX is a very strong company. And he is now one of the richest men on the planet, if not the richest man on the planet. And it's like those risks that you have to take. I have these same things that I deal with on a daily basis. All of a sudden, like things start feeling downtrodden. It's like, man, I just we got to do something. We got to change. And I can see the writing on the wall before it's the end. The people that ignore those signs and say, well, it'll just happen. It's like, well, you have to change the sail. Um, and actually, there was a cool quote by, I'm drawing a blank on who the quote was by, but it was from that show White Collar, and I'm pretty sure it was like Ernest Hemingway. It was just your. Elizabeth Edwards? No. What is going on? Just signed into my wife's Pinterest. I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to always reach my destination. Jimmy Dean. So, you can't direct the wind. Thomas Thomas S. Monson. Anyways, it's great quotes like that that keep the world around. But okay, here we go. Also, for all of you that were narrated by Jeremy Bobb and Walter Isaacson. So, uh, so it is read by the author. But just a just he's a phenomenal guy. Like it just from rags to riches. I mean, by no means was he the poorest, but I mean there are ebbs and flows through this whole book, and it is, if you don't try, if you don't persevere, that's it. Like you don't achieve success by not working at it. Long hours, staying up late, running on minimal sleep, coding into the wee hours of the night to try to make PayPal a thing. By the way, not the leftist tears tumbler, but the homemade White Claws that are non-alcoholic. All you have to do is not add the alcohol, and you have homemade White Claws. And Reddit and the internet is a phenomenal thing for being able to help you out and figure out how to do it. And actually, one of these days on the show, what I'll do is, because I just made a 5-gallon Cornelius keg tonight of it, which will be ready in about 4 days. But I have one that I'm drinking. I keep 2 in rotation. It's phenomenal for like water, CO2, and like lime or lemon juice. How easy it is to just have a carbonated beverage that you don't have to pay. You know, like I think I pay $5 for a whole. That's including the water and the CO2. You know, $5 or 20 if you want to have it alcoholic, and you get 5 gallons, which is equivalent to 75 White Claws. Phenomenal, right? Gotta love the internet, baby. Gotta love doing stuff yourself. You gotta be inspired to do things. So, anyways, Misty founds Tesla, the Roadster, uh, back to SpaceX, 2 strikes, the SWAT team, uh, taking the wheel at Tesla, his divorce, Tallulah, strike 3, on the brink, SpaceX and Tesla. The 4th launch, saving Tesla. So here it is. This is what I was talking about. The Model S at Tesla, private space, SpaceX, the Falcon 9 rocket launches in Cape Canaveral, uh, marrying Tallulah, manufacturing Tesla, the Musk and Bezos discrepancies, uh, Tallulah roller coaster, artificial intelligence, open AI, his involvement with that, his donations, why it should have been, why it was all shareware essentially. I'm a kid from the '90s, so everything's called shareware. Open source is what the kids are calling it now. It's still shareware. It's Wolfenstein 3D Episode One. Um, it is Ubuntu. It is. Oh man, I could go into it. So it's turned into a Bloodhound Gang song. It's anything but Pennsylvania. Um, the launch of autopilot and Tesla. They were talking about gathering data, uh, solar, Tesla Energy, the Boring Company that he started in 2016, rocky relationships, descent into the dark, Fremont factory, uh, open loop warning, Fallout. Talks about his beef with Grimes, uh, Shanghai and Tesla, Cybertruck, Starlink. I mean, there's just, I mean, like, just even just having one of these on your resume puts you in the history books. And this guy is already there and just has that laundry list of things that he's done. He is our Tesla. He is our Thomas Edison. I mean, I don't want to give to Edison too much credit for what he did to Tesla, but it is that's what he is. He's got the patent for everything. And it's like, yeah, did he buy technology? Did he buy this? Did he buy that? Like, yeah, Jack Dorsey started Twitter, he bought it, but like he turned it into the um he turned it into what it is for free speech. It started out as a great thing, a way to communicate, and then all of a sudden it started radically getting censored, and he brought it back, and I think it's phenomenal. Um, and so let's see here: Starship, SpaceX, Autonomy Day, Tesla, Giga Texas, Family Life, Full Throttle with SpaceX, Bezos versus Musk round two, Starship, Solar Surge, Nights Out. I mean, how many chapters? There's almost 100 chapters. So, I mean, it's let's see here: Nights Out, summer of 2021, inspiration for SpaceX, the Raptor shakeup, Optimus is born. While I was reading this, actually, news was being released about Optimus, um, and how they were releasing it. Neuralink and his involvement with that. Actually, my wife showed me a TikTok about Neuralink. It was from a Joe Rogan podcast that I had missed, and I was like, "Oh my god, that's phenomenal!" Then I get to actually like listen to that segment of the book. Vision only, Tesla, money, father of the year. He talks about his reoccurring relationship with his father, politics, his involvement in politics, is trying to get he tried to stay away from it, then he got into it, then he switched sides. His involvement in the Ukraine war with Starlink, and then how people wanted to have him help him like utilize Starlink for like bad endeavors. And I'm like, we're not going to provide you with intel, and like we're helping you survive. We're not going to help you wage wars and decimate your enemies. And it's like, that's not my game plan. Bill Gates, active investors in Twitter. I made the offer on Twitter, hot and cold Twitter, like Father's Day, Starbase, Optimus Prime, uncertainty about Twitter. And it goes, and a lot of like the later part of the book is like bringing you right up. Like, we're doing big chunks of his life. And then right as we're getting towards the end, you're getting these little tidbits. And it's like the chapters are constantly changing towards the end here, because you're getting the minutia, the more accurate delve between the like topics are happening at the same time instead of politics in this time period, and there might be bigger overlaps. But I mean, Walter Isaacson did a phenomenal job going back and forth and back and forth and getting it right down to the nitty gritty. Like, just it's great insight. I mean, there's just a great autobi or a great biography. Uh, all in Twitter, hardcore Twitter, miracles at Neuralink, the Twitter file releases, rabbit holes in Twitter, Christmas capers, blue checks in Twitter, Halloween, content moderation, Three Musketeers, The Takeover, Let That Sink In, Robo Taxi, Optimus Unveiled, um, AI for cars, AI for humans, XAI, Starship, launch, and then end credits, and an excerpt from Steve Jobs by Walter Isaacson. So let's see if we can edit this. Boom. There it is. And this is what Grok AI gets you right here. Because I just said, hey, can you summarize Elon Musk's biography for me, because it's been a few months since I read it, and boom, here's all the bullet points that I can work off of. This is the stuff that he went to go lead. We're in Grok 2 right now, baby. So Life22 Studios on X, don't forget to check us out. Elon Musk, he gives you a brief breakdown. He talks to you about, this is where I was reading that excerpt about Zip 2. I forgot. There's so much in that book. I'm not going to remember. It's not my life. Um, I can't remember all the names of the characters in the Matthew Perry autobiography, which was also another good one that we've read and reviewed here on the show. But this is, oh, we're almost at 3 gigs. 4K is the shit, baby. Blowing our budget out with having to go buy new extra space. Anyways, it breaks down his personal life, all this stuff, future vision, and then this is in depth on Elon Musk's drive, his philosophy, psychological makeup. Actually, and like most of the books that I read, most of the podcasts I listen to, I'll listen to a podcast from somebody and I'll get like 3 books and I'll have to like add them to my wish list. Or if they're cheap enough, I will buy them right on the spot. I've never seen, what is it? Um, Across the Universe is the Beatles thing. What is the, hey, guess what? We can ask Grok anything we want. This is phenomenal. What is the space travel book Elon totes? And Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know why I didn't think of it, but I've never read it. I've never read it. Here's my hands. I did buy it because I read this book and he said it was so influential on his life. So it's on the list right now. We're in the middle of Dr. Peterson's new book. Um, so, but other than that, folks, I mean, that was this book. That was this book in a nutshell, as best I can. I mean, we're 24 minutes in a book review, kind of delving in. It is hard biography book. Like, this is not classic literature, so a lot of people will watch this channel and be, I'll get comments out there, hey, your book review was not as in depth as we expected to be. Like, listen, I'm not breaking down characters. I'm just Joe Blow reading a book and then giving you my quick synopsis. Should you read it or not? I'll tell you briefly what it's about. I'm not going to start breaking down characters like Raskolnikov and all that other stuff. If this was Crime and Punishment, I'm not going to start breaking down things like that. That's not how in depth these book reviews go. You're getting my opinion on it, and that's about it. But this was a phenomenal biography. It's hard for me to do anything more than go on the play by play of his timeline of his life. I mean, everybody sees Elon. You can see him for yourself. Do not listen to legacy media if you're trying to learn about Elon, because all you're going to do is get a skewed, hazy nightmare of a guy who is not who they say he is. So, I mean, everybody has a dark side, but you know, he's not this. For a guy who just wants to give his heart to the world, to all the people out there, I think they're overreading it, and that's that is what it is. But all right, guys, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We will catch you guys next time on Life 22. Deuces. Not really deuces.